Blood-sucking insects trapped in amber for millions of years extracted for their blood-filled bellies with the blood analyzed for ancient DNA. At first glance, the scientific explanation for the revival of dinosaurs in Jurassic Park does not sound too far-fetched. It was considered a genuine possibility at the time the book was written. There's just one problem. Trapped in amber or not, DNA doesn't like to stick around. Even in the best conditions, scientists estimate that readable DNA completely degrades in 1.5 million years. The asteroid impact that wiped out the dinosaurs occurred 65 million years ago, so there are tens of million years in the interim, which means plenty of DNA degradation. Any scientist you care to ask will tell you that Jurassic Park is the only place you will see dinosaurs cloned anytime soon. But that's not to say paleontologists are in total agreement about what constitutes the world's oldest decipherable genetic material. We are not doing this to clone a dinosaur, we are just trying to understand if we can get access to some of the genetic material. In the last few decades, my Riyadh discoveries have pushed back the date of the oldest readable genetic material. In 2013, a 7 lakh year old horse fossil frozen in permafrost became the oldest DNA ever sequenced. Before that, the oldest sequenced genome was from the remains of an 80,000 years old Denisovan. Because of the fragility of DNA, some scientists think that might be the oldest we are going to get, at least in terms of decipherable genetic material that's not so degraded as to be worthless. Then earlier this year, scientists announced they had sequenced DNA from a 1.2 million year old mammoth tooth which currently holds the record for the oldest recovered and sequenced DNA. DNA has a half-life of 521 years, meaning that after 521 years, half of the bonds in its molecular backbone break. After 1042 years, half of that remainder would be gone too. In absolutely pristine conditions, the last bond would break after 6.8 million years, but you are likely to have a lot of trouble reading anything at all after about a million years, researchers say. And it's not just that it can't be trusted, it's about how much information it would provide you. It might be a little piece preserved, but would it be enough to provide you with good information? Every human genome is made up of 3.2 billion base pairs, the building blocks of DNA deoxyribonucleic acid, that code our genetic instructions. Every living thing on the planet uses these DNA base pairs to store their genetic information, and most mammals have a similar number of base pairs to code our every hair, flipper, or horn. To work out most physical differences between two people, you can analyze tiny changes to these base pairs, called single nucleotide polymorphisms. In some diseases, only one SNP will be changed, while eye color can involve a handful, and some population-wide traits can take hundreds of these tiny changes. To think about it another way, if you provided a sample of your DNA to a genetics testing company such as 23andMe, they would look at 6,40,000 of your SNPs, which sounds like a lot, but they are only actually analyzing about 0.02% of the whole genome. With so much complexity in a genome, it gets complicated quickly if billions of those base pairs become degraded, leaving only part of the puzzles behind offering physical genetic information. Wasef uses the analogy of our DNA being like a computer hard drive. If the hard drive is in a safe place where it's not exposed to a lot of factors that damage it, it will be preserved, she explains. But once this hard drive gets attacked by viruses, you start to eat into your data. Even the very well preserved 7 lakh year old horse DNA was corrupted enough that it had to be painstakingly stitched back together by University of Copenhagen researchers while simultaneously removing any bacterial DNA that had been mixed in and also extracted. Cloning a dinosaur then is well and truly off the table, and given the finite lifetime of DNA, it does not seem likely that there would be any useful dinosaur DNA left to find anyway. While analyzing a baby dinosaur called Hypocrosaurus from the late Cretaceous period, they found incredibly well preserved cartilage. Inside the cartilage, they discovered cell-like structure that included material resembling DNA in the test conducted. We isolated some cells of the dinosaur and we stained them with DNA stains, Bilwell says. Inside the dinosaur cell, it looks like there is still some material that's reacting with the DNA stain above. Chromosome-like structures from the Hypocrosaurus dinosaur. There is only one problem: the dinosaur in question is between 74 and 80 million years old, much too old to still have intact DNA. Unfortunately, there is no way to check the result. When working with a very tiny amount of potential DNA, the methods scientists use are destructive. meaning that the samples are destroyed while they are being analyzed. Because of this, the findings caused some controversy in the paleontology world, with many researchers believing that the sample is just too old to be genuine dinosaur DNA, with the results likely reflecting some form of modern genetic contamination in the samples instead. In other words, you have to know what you are aiming to achieve before you get started. It has to be a very good aim, or you are just wasting the samples to prove DNA can live, Vasif explains. Despite other researchers' doubt, Bilwell still thinks it's real dinosaur DNA her team found, not contamination of the samples. Everybody says, okay, there is no more DNA after 1 million years, it gets too degraded, too modified, you can't get anything. And then, yet, here we have this sample, she says. But DNA is not the only way to find genetic information about ancient creatures. In 2019, the same team that analyzed the horse DNA announced that they had extracted genetic information from the tooth enamel of a 1.77 million year old species of rhino. Instead of looking at the DNA itself, the team analyzed the proteins, determined the amino acids, and reverse engineered a small DNA sequence out of that information. Unfortunately, ancient protein has similar issues to degraded DNA. You can tell some information from reconstructing DNA from protein, but it's only a small sample of the genome. For example, each base pair is in a genome works with the base pair next to it to make it larger and larger structures. Group of 3 base pair code for specific amino acid which then code for specific proteins. But there are redundancies and duplicates in this code, so working backwards is complex. The combination of letters of DNA can make different amino acids, and those different amino acids can make the same protein, Vasif explains, so you can't really translate the same protein back to DNA. Despite these issues, many scientists think ancient protein truly is the next frontier of researching ancient genetics. You can still retrieve important information from these fossilized proteins, and some information is better than nothing. Right now, the techniques we have available for analyzing proteins are expected to push the age of the old genetic sequencing back a few million extra years, although it remains to be seen whether this will extend all the way back to the reign of the dinosaurs.